I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. And here is the secret. Here is how he learned to be content. He says, I can do all this through him who gives me strength. I'll read that again. I can do all this through him who gives me strength. Now that passage might seem a little off to many of you who are used to a different translation, one that says, I can do all things through him who gives me strength. I think I like this translation a little better. For one thing, it's more faithful to the Greek, but also it doesn't lend itself to being misused quite so much. As you know, this passage, as you probably know, this passage is often used out of context, more than most passages in Scripture. The idea that I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. I mean, if that's true, couldn't that mean then that you could do anything that you set your mind to? So I can ace that project. I can get that girl to go out with me. I can become a NASA engineer or an astronaut. I can join the NBA, right? I can be a gold medalist. If I put my mind to it and Christ gives me the strength, then I can do all things, can't I? I was once weightlifting with a friend who is a Christian. He knew I was a Christian, and so he was trying to pump me up for a lift. It was going to be my personal record, more weight than I had ever lifted before, and he was saying, come on, Steve, you can do it. All things, you can do all things through Christ who gives you strength. And so I pulled with all my might, and I got the weight about halfway up, and then dropped it because it was too heavy for me. Does that mean that God doesn't keep his promise to give me strength to do the things I want to do? Does that mean that I didn't trust God enough? I like this translation better. I can do all this through him who gives me strength. Because this brings it back to the context. It makes you wonder, well, what is this? What exactly is God giving me the strength to do? Paul says, I am given the strength to be content, whether I am living in plenty or in want. He gives you the strength to be content, whether you are well-fed or hungry, living in plenty or in need.